Beautiful.
Hello, lovers of the world. This is Cinta speaking. I love Agatha Christie. She is my favorite author, and I've made several videos about her books. I plan to make more in the future, but I've never made any videos about her plays, and that makes sense considering there aren't many opportunities to watch them in Aotearoa, New Zealand, which is where I live. But I'm not in Aotearoa, New Zealand right now. I am in the UK. And I finally got to watch her most popular play ever, The Mousetrap. I did not plan to make a vlog about this event. In fact, I only just decided to make a video about this morning. And if I had planned ahead to make this kind of video, I would have done a lot of things differently. First of all, I would have videoed way more stuff on the day. I would have had more footage of me talking as things were happening, but I think it worked out for the best considering the type of play that this is. So, unlike my other Agatha Christie videos, I will not be reviewing the story itself as I have been sworn to secrecy by the cast of The Mousetrap to keep the secret. By the way, the reason why I'm speaking in this very subdued manner is because it is literally midnight and everybody else in the house is asleep. I'm trying to keep my voice low. Hopefully, this microphone catches all of the audio well enough. So, anyway, back to the Mousetrap. I watched it yesterday with my parents and I was really excited to watch it in person. But the thing is, I already knew kind of the plot of the play because when I was younger, when I was in high school, I actually read the script. It was available, I think, on. I just borrowed it from the library, and so that's what I did. I did it because I never could have imagined that several years down the line I would even be able to watch the play as it was intended to be seen. I didn't think that I would be able to reach the UK in my life to see it performed live. So I thought there was no harm in reading the script in my own time. And honestly, I don't regret that decision because at some point in my life, I have experienced that plot twist, even if it was just reading it on paper and not on stage, which is good enough for me. And I made that decision thinking that there was just no point in depriving myself of Christie's most famous work just because I live on the other side of the world. But obviously, fate had other plans, and I am here. So I'm filming in my sister's house because she lives in the UK. And so we were managed to buy tickets to watch the show in London in St. Martin's Theatre. Even though the play is not the only way to find out about the story, especially with the social media landscape that we're in, and the fact that you can literally just read the plot of it on Wikipedia, and the fact that even like several years ago, I was able to find the script no problem through my library, I've decided not to really talk about the story or the plot or the characters in this video just because to keep the attitude of the play alive. And therefore, I will not be talking about anything about the plot. I will talk about my experience of going to the theater. If I had planned this better, there would be so much more B roll, but I will just have the pictures that I have because obviously I still took pictures, but yeah, hopefully this will still be interesting to you. I really wanted to film it while the event was still fresh in my mind. So, but yeah, I went to see the play with my parents in London. Out of the three of us, I was definitely the most excited because they had fallen asleep at certain points of the play, but what can you do? I'll get to that in a second. Earlier that day, because I chose a matinee show, so the show started at 3 p.m. Earlier in the day, we had gone to other touristy spots. So we had been to Westminster Abbey and took pictures in front of the Big Ben. We went to Buckingham Palace. We walked through St. James's Park. And so we were in a bit of a rush getting to the theater because we wanted to squeeze a lot of stuff in before then. And so as we were walking to the theater, I literally could have missed it, but thankfully my dad saw it before we had gone further. But we passed by the Agatha Christie bust like that was super close to the St. Martin's Theater. And quite literally, like I was so engrossed in trying to find this theater, like looking at my Google Maps, right? That I literally could have missed it. It would have fucking killed me if we missed it and I didn't take a picture of it. And so my dad stopped us and I managed to get a little photo of me next to the Agatha Christie bust. I didn't get to read the bust and I think that really kills me because I wish I could have just like looked at it in person more. I really regret not looking ahead of like the actual Agatha Christie spots in the city because it's my job as the Agatha Christie fan to know all of that beforehand. Like, I should have known that there was a bust there before we had even encountered it in the wild. So that's my bad. Like, I really should have known about that beforehand. So now we get to the St. Martin's Theater, and honestly, I'm not really a play person. It's more accurate to say that I prefer musicals. But I was excited to finally take this off my bucket list, and it's always kind of nice to see, like, at least I get to say that I've seen it performed in person as it was intended. And as I said, I already knew the plot, so I was kind of more looking forward to see how it was going to be performed. But after the show, I found that I was more enamored with St. Martin's Theater itself. The walls were covered in these old playbills, and I really enjoyed just looking at everything because knowing that this is where the play has been performed in, like basically from when Agatha Christie was still alive, really made me feel so connected to her in a way that I would never have been if I didn't come to the UK, of course. It really felt like being in a museum because it's such an old building, very historic. And here is a picture of me next to this wall that had all of the playbills. This was next to the bar when we were ordering drinks. Like, it was so hot inside. And again, I really wish I took more photos, especially like photos of the playbills zoomed up so you could see the designs and how all of these playbills changed over the years, as well as like who was the cast. There were also playbills celebrating the show's 30th anniversary, then its 50th anniversary, then its 60th anniversary, etc. But because it was so overstimulating being in the theater, so I haven't been able to take pictures of it on my own, but I'm sure many of the playbills are available online anyway. There was a framed certificate of the Mousetrap's Guinness World Record of being the world's longest running play. Here is me standing next to the merch stand. I bought this really cute pin. I'm gonna get it right now. This is the pin that I got. Isn't this adorable? It's a mousetrap and it is designed to look like a fingerprint. Very cute. There was another pin design that was a little bit more generic. It was like a typewriter and it had like Agatha Christie on it, but I wanted to get this one because it's like very clearly the mousetrap, you know? So I really like it. Um, I'm I'm really obsessed with this as well. I think it's the cutest thing. I also thought about buying the program for the show, but after looking at the price, which was £6, this was also £6. I thought that I'd rather save that money instead because later this week I'm going to see witness for the prosecution later, and I thought it would be better if I used that money for, like, I'm thinking that maybe they will have a pin as well. So I really want to get both pins in case there is one. And if there isn't, then I'll buy a program from Witness for the Prosecution. The other thing I was really tempted to buy was the script for the Mousetrap. It was a thick hardbound book with this really elegant design. And when you buy it, you get the stamp of the number of the performance you watched. And I thought that was so cool. It was so cool. But it was £25, and clearly it's not like I'm going to be rereading it all the time. Like, even as an Agatha Christie story, I feel like it's not one of my favorites. And I've decided not to say any further because that would be a spoiler. I also took a picture with the counter of how many performances there have been of the Mousetrap, as well as this cool old-timey sign outside of St. Martin's Theater. So our seats were on the upper circle on like the right-hand side facing the stage. It looked pretty full from where we were, but we couldn't really see beyond the balcony. So I don't know how many people there were downstairs. We could see that the two um, private boxes on either side of the stage were occupied. So those are the really like expensive tickets because they are so close to the stage and they were obviously like lower. So yeah, and like I'm assuming the people downstairs were like richer people, but I thought it was funny because the upper circle is split into two. So there's like an aisle like in the middle for people to go in and out, right? And on the right hand side where we were, there was a classroom of teenagers on a school field trip, I guess, and they occupied like 3 rows in front of us. And then on the other side, the left hand side, it was mostly like older people, like people with gray hair. And I just thought it was funny, like the old people and the young people. So that was pretty cute. Yeah, as for the actual play itself, like I have to as a disclaimer, I haven't been to a play in a long time. Like even musicals, like I found the acting of the cast pretty well done. I was amazed at how much they could project their voices because don't think they were using microphones. And I think the way the theater was shaped, would have made it not conductive to have microphones because it's already built in the 50s or whatever, and they didn't have microphones then, so that you had to project your voice and the acoustics would like bounce back. So definitely there was no microphones. I also feel like I know that there were no microphones because I kind of low-key struggled to hear them a little bit. It's not necessarily because they didn't do a good job of projecting their voices, but mostly because I have a little bit of an audio processing thing going on. I do wish I could have heard them better, but again, like it's a personal thing, and also we were pretty high up, so that definitely factors in. The other downside is that even though I consider myself a pretty native English speaker, the various accents put on by the cast could be a little difficult to follow, especially, like, this is not a spoiler, Sergeant Trotter. I don't know if that's just how the actor himself spoke or if that was the accent that the actor decided to give to the character. I think if I was from the UK, that all of the different accents that each cast member put on would add a different layer of like class commentary to it. Like Agatha Christie loves a class commentary. Yes, she does. Like these are not spoilers, but there is one guy with he's supposed to be Italian, so he's got a really like thick, almost comical Italian accent, and like that was actually pretty easy to follow. It was Sergeant Trotter's accent that was hard for me to understand. If you are someone who's like hearing isn't very good, or if you are not like super well versed in these like English accents, then you are going to struggle a little bit with following the actors. Like I think even my parents, I know especially my mom, she says she struggles a little bit with the way that British people would pronounce certain words. So if you were an international like visitor, maybe that would definitely be hard to follow. So it's not like I want the guy to change the accent. It's definitely important to the story in some way, but that was something that if you haven't seen it yourself and you're not like an native English speaker, then that's something to consider when watching a play like this. So I found myself really having to like literally leaning in to hear and pay attention to what they were saying. Yeah, otherwise it was a very cool experience. I appreciated being there, and I think they literally brought that script to life. And actually, it was a lot funnier than I expected it to be. There's a certain type of humor in Agatha Christie's books. Like, yes, I understand that, but there were a lot more jokes in the play that I didn't expect. Maybe it's more like the way the actors delivered them. Over time, there's a lot of like mannerisms that we would consider to be funny in the modern eyes. So there were points where that could only really be funny to a modern audience. Maybe 100, like maybe 50 years ago, that play would look completely different, and they would have different jokes and different mannerisms that would make it funny for that audience of that time. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And as I was thinking about the fact that this is one of the longest running plays, I was like, isn't Shakespeare, like surely there's like Shakespeare plays that have been running for much longer. But the play that we watched, it was the 73rd year that it was being run. So the idea that like maybe another 30 years later, 100 years would have passed since its first, that's nuts to me. Like a full century of the Mousetrap running. Wow. And that's within my lifetime. I'm 26 now. So when I'm 56 and I decide to come back and watch the Mousetrap again, wow. That's crazy. I hope it's still running. Like, I hope it runs forever. Agatha Christie's stories deserve to be told that long. Yeah, I specifically wore this outfit because the t-shirt says The Body in the Library by Agatha Christie, and I actually bought it several years ago, and I usually keep it in my closet, but I specifically brought this t-shirt to the UK so that I could wear it to see the Mousetrap. And then when I go watch the witness for the prosecution, I'm gonna wear it then as well. So that's very exciting. So yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about my trip to the Mousetrap. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. I don't know when this will come up. I'll definitely have this posted, and then I'll have my witness for the prosecution vlog out as well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you liked my videos, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I do post a lot of Agatha Christie videos alongside videos about music. All my social media links are down in the description alongside my Coffee and Patreon pages if you guys want to financially support me. Other than that, I can't wait to share my love with you again next time. See you soon.